Welcome to another episode of Day Sports. Before we jump into everything, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment who you think is going to be winning this week, and give all the socials a follow. It helps out a lot. I'm going to link all that in the bio. Season review is coming out with Big Les's League, so keep an eye out. Check out his socials. I might link that in the bio as well. We smashed out a massive podcast the other night going through every single team and how they went throughout the season. But jumping right into it, so we got the Pacific Championship that kicked off week 1 over the weekend. Not going to lie, missed pretty much all of it. I was away in the Sunshine Coast at a music festival, so you can imagine wasn't really in a state. There was basically no reception whatsoever, so I wasn't able to suss out the games. I think Friday night I was out for dinner, so missed the Australian-Tonga game. Have gone, watched all the replays and the recaps, highlights, all that sort of jazz. But Australia, they beat Tonga 18-0. Tonga, they had a monster forward pack. That was something that did worry me a little bit coming up against Australia, but our pack is just as good and Australia just better, and we got it done across the park. So it's good to see zombie Tom Trbojevic getting tries and still killing it, even though he's literally falling apart. So yeah, that's great. I'm pretty sure he still needs surgery and he's waiting till the end of it. So shows how much Australia means to him. Him roaming around, linking up with the hammer is disgusting. Those two just should be nowhere near each other on the field. It's ridiculous. Bit clunky as well for that team, but that's to be expected, especially when you've got players coming in that either haven't played together before, guys like Mitchy Moses that haven't played since Origin. So you're going to have players that are a little bit rusty, probably haven't been training as much, obviously being off season and that now. So yeah, not too bad though. Lindsay Collins must owe Olaquatu money or something. He got sent to the gulag and got smashed by him again. I think it's happened a few times this season. He's just got eyes for Collins for some reason. Poor fella. I don't know what he has done to piss him off, but I'd hate to see that become a common occurrence where he's just getting flatlined by big Olaquatu. The game looked like it could have been a bit of a blowout. Tonga, they had some great try saves close to the line. Like they were, looking dead for broke there a couple of times from what I could see, and managed to hang on with some great efforts. But one of those I think resulted in Lehigh getting sent off, being offside. But the passion was there to try to do something. So that was an interesting one. Pretty much went the way that I thought it would. PNG beat Fiji 22-10. If I'm honest, again, missed this one. Don't have a ton to say about it. Got my tip wrong. I went with Fiji. They ended up losing. It looked like an exciting watch, I must say. There's some talented guys there on the PNG team. They turned up big time. It was a nightmare of a game for Viliami Kikau, throwing 2 intercepts that led to tries. So I can't imagine he'll be doing that one again. Proper doozy of a game for him. But yeah, PNG, they get it done over there in Fiji. So great for them. The marketing of the Pacific Championships is woeful though. The amount of people that barely even know it's on, and not only just casuals that might watch a handful of games, your grand final, your state of origins throughout the year. Really, if there's a TV on, have a gaze, but that's about it. No one really knew it was happening. It was only about a week out that Australia really started advertising and marketing their stuff, their kits, the players, everything like that. It's meant to be the pinnacle of the game and they're looking to build it up, but the marketing just doesn't match all this chat about wanting to do that. It's a little bit weird. And like I said, I feel like a lot of people didn't even know what was going on. Like I gave my tickets away to a friend of mine. I was meant to be going again, was away, hit him up, just been like, hey, do you want these tickets for Australia versus Tonga? And they're like, oh, is footy still on? So, that doesn't speak for everybody, but a lot of people just had no idea that it was even happening. And, even a lot of fans don't particularly care, I feel, that it's happening, which is not the way that it should be. Everyone sees Origin as just this spectacle, and you'd think that's what it should be like for the international game. Maybe it was many moons ago, but at the moment it definitely doesn't seem to be there. I think they had 30,000 at Suncorp on the Friday night. Decent crowd, but that's something that should be absolutely packed out. I did see in the city walking around, heaps of people donning all their Tongan gear and all that, so that's really good to see. It sounds like their fans were super passionate and happy to be there. So if we can build that up, that'd be better. But a lot of that comes to the awareness, the marketing campaigns that go into it leading up. If you're starting something, one Instagram post like a month before is not really going to build up that hype. You've got to get the players involved. You've got to have all the different content, so something they can work on, but it helps get all the eyes on the game. If people don't know what's going on, well, not much you can really do about it. Broncos, and in particular Ezra Mam, they have a problem at the moment. They've been some very, very naughty boys, and Madge has his hands full. So I'm pretty sure he just arrived pretty much to Red Hill. I saw an interview they put out today, I think it was with Fox Sports, them questioning him about it, and yeah, obviously he can't really say a whole lot on the situation at the moment, but Broncos, they need an Uber sponsorship with what's happened with Ezra Mam. Very poor decision making, something that could have very, very easily could have been avoided. We're going to wait and see, but allegedly at this stage, he was driving without a license, as we all know. Crashed into another car, so I believe it was an Uber with a mother and a daughter or child anyway in the back, who I believe from reports has a fractured hip again, and then he's allegedly failed the roadside drug testing. So not good for Ezra at all. This one is probably one of the most serious things that's kind of happened in rugby league in the last couple of years, at least in my memory. This is not looking good at all for him. So we'll have to see. Again, everything's very much alleged at this point. I'd be surprised if he was genuinely driving cooked. Dare say it was probably a night before ordeal, but again, can't really comment, not condoning necessarily that behaviour, but people go, oh, he's driving on drugs, this, that, and everything. I would be amazed if he was actually fucking off his head at the, moment of the incident, but I guess we'll never know. He's checked himself into rehab, so you never know. Maybe he has really been struggling with, substances of whatever it might be. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on how I feel about all this. On one hand, selfishly, as a Broncos player, I don't want to lose Ezra Mam. I don't want to see his contract get torn up. On the other hand, if I take my Broncos cap off, it's pretty fucked up what's gone on with it all. I think I saw Vossi talk the other day on a radio show or whatever the hell it might have been, saying, if it was your family members that got injured in that crash, you'd want to see him locked up. So again, it was such an easily avoided thing. He's got enough money to pretty much pay for every single person in Brisbane to get an Uber. Moving house, whatever. Heaps of people do stupid shit, not thinking they're going to get caught, particularly. I don't know where he was moving from. Maybe it was just down the road and he didn't really think too much of it, but it's turned into a massive shit show for everyone that's been involved, particularly for himself. The club's got to figure out what they're going to do with it all, and it might not come down to him. He might be lucky if he doesn't have the book thrown at him by the court system. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I don't know if going to rehab's going to save him, to be completely honest. If he's driving unlicensed, then he probably, allegedly or potentially could have prior offences. I don't know if he ever had a licence in the first place. Who knows? He might have been actually on his L's. It's hard to really know. I'm pretty sure he got gifted those cards through sponsorship, so you'd assume he had a licence at some point. Just dumb footy player shit, unfortunately. I'd love to go in and bat for him, but he's done the wrong thing. We've seen in the media getting absolutely slammed, but I guess the Broncos supposedly are going to be the ones to figure out their punishment first, so I can imagine that's going to be quite hefty. Whether they're dropping him back into reserve grade, whether they're going to tear up his contract, it's hard to say. Again, like I said, I'd prefer that they keep him, but it's hard. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. At the end of the day, if they tear up his contract, I'm imagining another club is going to grab him straight away, or Super League even, depending on what happens with the actual ARL or the NRL's punishment. Either way, he's definitely getting fined. Some sort of punishment for the Broncos. He'd be getting suspended for a serious amount of times. See other players get involved with incidents. You've got kind of levels to it. So you've got the stuff that's happened with Trell involving, drugs and whatever. You've got the stuff with Addo Carr. And then this is just a whole other level of stuff. So the punishment definitely needs to fit the crime, and it needs to be severe to deter people from doing that. And I'm sure Madge is going to be out there with you. He's just going to be running laps for the rest of the season, potentially. It's going to be rough. But maybe Madge will bring back corporal punishment. Anytime the boys step out of line, fucking get that into you. Hopefully he doesn't. That might count as abuse, but we'll have to see what happens with it all. It's going to be a really sticky situation anyway, and again, he could potentially be facing some very, very serious consequences for this. So I don't know. And saying that, hopefully everyone involved is okay, including Ezra. I think it's probably dawning on him now that he's not bulletproof and invincible, and there's serious consequences. So I think Madge has as well come out pretty much saying, he needs to step forward and really own his actions and the consequences that come along with it. So I think that's, one step in the right direction. But yeah, there's going to be a lot more to this. We're going to have to find out the circumstances around it all. And yeah, it's probably going to take some time for it to go through the system. And them figure out everything. Apparently it even takes ages for them to get the second test result back. So, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. I generally don't know about those really being that wrong, but allegedly it's a positive at the moment, so I guess we'll have to find out. But yeah, just a shit show to be a Broncos fan. And all the stuff that happened in Bali, to be fair, that stuff I probably wouldn't stress about too much. Apparently he just broke some dude's phone that was being a pest trying to take photos of him and Reese, but... you can imagine what some of those fans would be like. You've heard the stories of fans being in the back of, Reese's car and things like that after leaving training. So a little bit of invasive. You can imagine the people that would just try to be tough and be a pain in the ass as well just because of who they are, just to try to prove something. So... some drunk dickhead coming up to you being fuckwit, trying to take a photo or shoving a phone in your face when you're trying to enjoy a night out, you can imagine would get a little bit old for them. And, it sounds like they sorted out the situation themselves, got old mate a new phone, not that big of a deal. So it's just not a good look though. From dizzying heights to, really, really bad lows for Ezra, I guess. Hopefully he can turn things around and we see him back out there next year unscathed by all this. Hopefully he can kind of escape from, whatever he might be trying to at the moment, with obviously going to rehab to sort himself out. So, yeah, we'll wait and see with it all. Another thing that is on this weekend is UFC. I'm going to touch on the main card, but I'm just going to touch on the two fights that interest me the most. So you've got Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev, and then you've got Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. I'm so fucking keen for this one. The only problem is it does start, I think the main card's at like 4 a.m. or something. It's over in, where is it? But either way, starts at 4 a.m, which is rough. So up first on that one to the co-main event, I think it might actually be 5 rounds. So if it is RIP Chimaev even more, is Robert Whittaker versus Chimaev. Like I was saying, I'm backing Rob Whittaker home all day. I think this is a bad fight for Chimaev. He's been a little golden boy bogeyman for so long, but he's been ducking, pulling out of fights while Rob's been in there putting the work in just time and time again, and he's really only lost to the best of the best. Izzy's beat him twice. Arguably in the second one, could have gone to Rob very long time ago now, so it doesn't really matter. And then the fight with Drakus Duplessis, but he's the champion at the moment, as defeated Israel Adesanya, Sean Strickland, all those guys. So you don't really get better than that. He's only been beaten by champions, and Izzy held that belt for the longest time. Chimaev, on the other hand, who did he last beat? I think he beat Gilbert Burns and Usman as well. Kamaru Usman, yeah. So don't get me wrong, beating Kamaru Usman, huge, but at the same time, that's him moving up to a weight class that he hasn't been a part of before. Wasn't that dominant. And then Gilbert Burns just about beat him. He really, really, really had to dig deep for that one, and I think Rob is a far worse matchup than that. He thinks he's probably going to walk in there and he's going to smash everybody, like whatever, and it's like, well, cool, Yoel Romero, an Olympic caliber wrestler, could not take Rob down and hold him down. I don't think you get the size and the strength to be able to do it. Rob's got him on the striking for days. I think it is terrible. Rob by TKO KO. I'm going to go rounds 1 to 3 would be my prediction for that fight, but there's a reason they call him the Reaper, that's for sure. So definitely tune into that one if you get a chance, because it is going to be a great fight. But Rob, he's just built different, in that fight against Yoel Romero many years ago, he had his legs pretty much blown out. He got fucking concussed, something chronic, got his head rung a few times, managed to stay in there. He's super resilient, tough as nails. Even that fight in Paulo Costa, that was really impressive. Like, that is a big, intimidating, scary guy. He even hit him with a spinning back kick straight to the head, somehow stayed in it, and I think pretty much managed to go on and win the round anyway. Like, it was crazy. And then the next fight, the main event, this one is super exciting. You got Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. So for those of you who don't know, Ilia is the one who knocked out Volk in the first round, and that was just one of the most horrible things to ever see, Volk going down like that. Max, on the other hand, is the baddest motherfucker and has that title wrapped around him after that fight with Justin Gaethje. He ended up folding him in the last 10 seconds where they stood in the middle. I think that was at UFC 300. That is still one of the wildest moments in UFC that I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, this is going to be a massive fight. Ilia is fast, scary, great striker with legitimate power. Max, on the other hand, a little bit more of the volume, but as you can see, has the knockout power as well once he puts those hands on you. Ilya's saying, oh yeah, we're going to come out and stand there in the first 10 seconds, we're just going to swang and bang, and Max is like, bro, that's not happening. Maybe in the last 10 seconds, but that is a ridiculous way to try to coax him into a fist fight. So it'll be very interesting. I think Max is a pretty tricky matchup for him, especially striking. He is quite crafty. His footwork is great. You know, he's the self-proclaimed best boxer in the UFC. So we'll see how it goes. It would hurt me a lot, and every single UFC fan, if we did see Max lose, let alone if he'd got knocked out, God forbid, touch wood. Ilya hits hard, but yeah, I think Max is going to get it done. His experience in those title fights is next to none. You know, he is fucking exceptional. So see how that goes. But yeah, big on Max Holloway and Robert Whittaker to get the W. Not, I guess, technically Pacific Championships, but England versus Samoa take place as well. I have no idea who's going to be playing because the team lists aren't out at this point, but I'll probably have to watch the replay of the game as well. It's played at like 12:30 in the morning, I think, next Monday on the 28th or whatever that is. So that's Monday. So if you're really, really keen, you can get up super early and watch that one. But I'm going to be back in Samoa 1 to 12. They're missing some big players with Critter's wedding and everything that happened, I think, last week and all. So I think Critter, Tor, a couple of others out, but Luai's playing, so that's one thing. But their team is just, their squad is ridiculous. So the talent and strike across that field for the Samoan team is just insane. I'm so keen to see them play. I guess a matchup that we won't be seeing will be Critter up against Herbie Farnworth, which was a good one, I think, a couple of years ago when they played. But yeah, no, that's right. And then honestly, couldn't tell you a ton of the players from the England team. I guess a lot of that's from the Super League, sprinkled in with a few Rugby League, well, not Rugby League, NRL players. But yeah, if I'm going to pick anyone though, if he is playing, I'm going to go with Dean Mariner to score anytime. He loved crossing the line for the Broncos all season, so I can see him getting it done for Samoa. I think he's come out being fucking passionate as for his country, so yeah, he's going to want to turn up big time. Now that does lead me into week 2 of the Pacific Championships. So these are my quick tips and predictions. So up first, Fiji versus the Cook Islands. So hard to get a little bit deep on this one. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know enough about these players and teams to really get crazy in there. Not really something that I want to do though. I'm trying to steer clear of the super deep analysis and all that sort of jazz, but I am going to go with Fiji 1 to 12. I think they're going to show up big time after the defeat last week. I'd be highly concerned running anywhere near kick out. I think he's going to be in for a massive game, so watch out for your ribs in that. He's going to be wanting to make up for those mistakes and how things went last week, I think. I'm not sure why Big Xavier Williamson is not in the team for the Cook Islands, but there is a notable player in the reserves. Big Alex Glenn is listed. He retired at the end of 2021. I remember actually going to that game with my old man. We sat up in the second tier, but I was blind. I could barely see the other end of the field. But yeah, the big man, he's coming back out there. It looks like he's been playing some sort of competition. I don't know exactly what, but seems to have the fitness there. So it would be scenes if he made an appearance at that one. Again, not trying to get too deep, but I think it would be rude not to go with Micah Sivo to cross any time. He scored last week. I think he'll be able to go in again. This is the game, though, that everyone's been looking forward to. It is New Zealand versus Australia. That is over in Christchurch. I really wish I could be going to that one, but much tougher competition for the Aussies playing the Kiwis in New Zealand as well. No way I'm missing this one. So this is on, I think, Sunday Arvo. I'm going to go with the Aussies 1 to 12, though. I'm always going to back the boys. It's never going to change. It's going to be like the Broncos. I'm going to be backing them day in and day out. Same with Queensland. It's just... doesn't matter who's lining up against them. That's what I'm going with. So I'm really keen to see the big boys go at it, though. James Fisher-Harris is just going to be elite, and I'm really, really keen to see how Keanu Keaney is going to be going, playing a fullback with this level of game. He's had a breakout season, one of the best that we've seen break out. He is so much fun, absolute meat eater, goes so hard. It's going to be good to see how he goes. So that actually pushes, I think, Chance into the 6th position, and Cody Nikorima goes to the bench. He is very versatile, so I can see how that's going to work. I would have thought Cody would have been the 6th easy choice, pairing up with Shawnee, but they got that kind of Warriors link up, so that's going to be interesting. I think that is going to be a little bit of a downfall for them, though, having him there at 6, because Cody's been great. I think he's been really, really exceptional, so be interesting to see what goes there. But no, the Australian team, they've pretty much named the exact same squad. I think they're just going to build on last week. Yeah, a little bit rusty. A few of the players are pretty banged up. You look at your Dylan Edwards, Tommy Trbojevic, guys like that. Don't know where Mitchy Moses is. If he's at 100%, I'm assuming probably not after those kind of injuries, but I'm sure they're going to be able to get it done. And I'm going to be backing big Gussie Crichton to get over for a meat pie. He's the best second rower in the world at the moment. So I think Tommy Dearden is going to be able to just sneak him a nice little something. That's if he's playing. I'm pretty sure he's playing on that left side. It would be surely Tommy. Yeah. Crichton. Yeah. So yeah, no, Super Kane. Tommy Dearden as well. What a fucking monster. He is just a rep player through and through. I think he scored, in the last 2 minutes left of last week. He just doesn't give up. Doesn't matter if they're winning, doesn't matter what's happening. He just goes as hard as he can over and over and over. So very keen to see how he goes. Yeah, that gets me into the tip of the week. So this one's a little bit different. Usually I just go with anytime try scorers, but I'm going to be backing my boy Bobby Knuckles, Robbie Whittaker, to get it done against Chimaev on the weekend in UFC. Sivo, again, he's going to cross it for Fiji. He just loves a try. And I'm going to go with my old trusty Hammer to cross the line with lightning speed against the Kiwis. He just doesn't miss. He can't be stopped. He's a cheat code. So if you put all those ones together, you're going to get a nice little $7.71 if you slap it all together. So yeah, good weekend for sports, that's for sure. But again, make sure you like, subscribe, follow all the socials, links all in the bio for everything, and I'll catch you guys next time.